Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're watching from. I'm ThatSpaceDogeGuy, and welcome to today's live coverage of Progress MS-33 launched by the Soyuz rocket. I will be your commentator for today. That's ThatSpaceDogeGuy, the only one commentating today, sadly. But yeah, it is what it is. We're planning to have phasing out for the Geelong 3 launch as well later today, but we'll see how that brings. Now we're less than 20 minutes away until the launch of the Soyuz rockets from Baikonur Cosmodrome. Again, it's been a while, but we're back. I believe this is the first launch from the Baikonur Cosmodrome since the pad issue in, I believe, last year. I'll just check. Yeah, the first Soyuz launch from Baikonur since November 27th, 2025, which the launch had some problems with the pad. I believe something broke or something completely broke, and yeah, that has been resolved now for this launch. They were expecting around a repair time of 6 months to a year. This is about 5 months, so I think that is a fairly great recovery time. And now they can finally launch stuff to the International Space Station again, hereby the Progress launch, the 33rd Progress mission to the International Space Station in 18 minutes from now. Now, not going to talk a whole lot, because we are also listening to comms from Mission Control as well, although I don't really understand Russian that well, although I have learned it from some people, so thank you to them. And there's also NASA coverage available for the people that want to listen in there. Here you can see the launch pad, launch site 316 at the Baikonur Cosmodrome. Now, I forgot I cannot read chat, so my bad for that. We'll get shout out as soon as possible on both channels, because I did forget to mention we are now streaming again on 2 streams. We are also streaming or on 2 channels. We're also streaming on the Bravo Yankee Tango YouTube channel, since he could not make it to stream it himself today, so I will be in place to host that for him. Once again, thank you for letting me do that, and that's also why you see an extra logo on the top. So, I think that's pretty cool. Anyway, here's a cool drone shot, which I personally like myself. I will say, Roscosmos has indeed stepped up their coverage a lot, which is very good for them. I'm glad they did, because now we get better views and stuff. So, step up to the coverage, and now it's black. Oh, there it is again. Now, let me just check, hold on. So today's launch will be the 186th flight of a Progress launch vehicle. It was the first cargo to fly in space, and also the first to bring freight back to Earth, thanks to a Raduga capsule, if I'm saying that name right. This Progress, in Russian, I cannot pronounce that, my bad. MS-33 is a Russian cargo vehicle which will resupply the International Space Station with, you can think about anything, resources, like maybe like experiments, but also like food and stuff like that. Yeah, here, food, water, fuel, and oxygen, and spare parts in case the ISS breaks down again. It is largely derived from the Soyuz spacecraft intended for the transport of crews in low Earth orbit. It is launched by a Soyuz lifting off from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. It has the mass of around 7 tons for a length of 7.9 meters, and its carrying capacity is around 2.5 tons. It can transport both pressurized freight and gases, propellant, and liquid, but it is not designed to bring freight back to Earth, except with the Raduga cargo capsule, like the Soyuz spacecraft. It is equipped with a coarse automatic docking system, which is also being used on, I believe, the manned flight, the crew flights. But I'm not sure on that myself. So that's a bit of the basics for today's launch of Progress. You can also check the NASA coverage for probably more info on them. We're talking about the statistics of Progress and the Soyuz launches, actually, because this that's interesting. It's not a strap-on. This rocket is about 51 meters tall, which is a very tall rocket. It cannot carry anything to geostationary transfer orbit, the Soyuz 2.1A, because it is designed to do Progress and crewed missions and other stuff that goes to low Earth orbit. And that also has a payload of 7,500 kilograms maximum it can carry. Now, I will say, the last launch from Baikonur Cosmodrome was Proton M, which launched Electro L number 5. So interesting to see Proton M back in the show, because that also has been quite a while since we've seen a Proton M launch. Let me just check, actually. Yes, it has been a 3-year break from Proton M launches. With the last one before the recent one being March 13th, 2023, at least in Amsterdam time zone. And that was from site 239. While the recent Proton M launch, the Proton M DM3 version, because the one in 2023 was Proton M Briz M. Proton M DM3 was from site 8124 at the Baikonur Cosmodrome, which launched on February 12th, 2026. So very interesting. Now let's actually take a look at the damage from the Soyuz MS-28 flight on November. There was some pad damage like I was talking about earlier. This is how it looked like. The entire bottom section, the service platform located in the flame pit, fell into the pit. And that may have been a failure in the equipment safety features, which is very bad. So that had huge damage there, and it had to be completely, I don't know if it was repaired or it completely was changed, because I heard there were some spare parts, or not really spare, because they had to launch there as well in Placet Cosmodrome. And that got damaged in the process, but I believe they have fixed that now, and everything is now resolved, and that's why you see Progress MS-33 launch vehicle on your screens from the Soyuz rockets. So very good repair time. Glad that they are back to launch, and interesting to see the coming launches as well. Like we have coming up MS-34, MS-35, and Soyuz MS-29 on July 14th. Now, I'm looking into if I can broadcast the Soyuz MS-29 launch. If I can, that would be very great. But we're still looking into that. Now, that is in July, so it's still far away, so I'm not sure myself.
Есть готовность ППТ с 230. Доклад 30 принял, первый.
Now, for the people just joining us, you're looking at live coverage of the Soyuz 2.1A launch carrying Progress MS-33 to the International Space Station today. And once again, we are partnering with Bravo Yankee Tango to do this stream as well. So that's, if you're wondering why on the Bravo Yankee Tango stream I'm speaking English and someone else, well, ThatSpaceDogeGuy is doing it for you, because he couldn't be there today. So I'm just here to step in and broadcast for him. And with good cause, because we're now...
Минутную готовность принял, 70-й.
Just listening in there.
Принял, первый. 60-й, сброс шоу объекта. Есть сброс шоу объекта, 60-й.
Now, Mission Control is very active, has been for the past few hours. Yes, I have been investing in listening to them talk for the past few hours. Now, they haven't said too much in comms a few hours ago. Now they are very much active back in the launch. We are now, this footage is actually brought to you by Roscosmos as well. This is the technical broadcast version. They also have a public broadcast on their YouTube channel. Now, we are now using the no commentary feed, the clean feed as people call it, for today. So we can actually properly talk through without me having to mute the broadcast.
Есть ключ на старт, 30-й.
Now, for the people interested in the Chinese spaceflight community, later today will be the launch of the Geelong 3 rocket from the Haiyang offshore launch platform. The boys will also be there to broadcast it live, so it's going to be a very cool coverage once again. And we are planning to have some commentators up for today as well. So stick around for that launch coverage. That will be in about 3 hours and 15 minutes from now, 50. So that will be later today. And we will be quickly ending the stream after launch, because I do have a busy schedule today. and I've already delayed something by 15 minutes. Now I cannot say what it is, and I probably will never say what it is. Some guy will probably find out in 40 years what it actually was. Yeah. So I have a tight packed schedule for today. And now, of course, Monday as well will be the launch of the Spectrum rocket from ISAR Aerospace from Norway, which will be the second launch of the Spectrum rocket launching onward and upward. So it's going to be a very cool launch. I cannot wait to actually see the launch because I've been waiting for this quite a while. The boys will also be there. So it's going to be really, really cool to see Spectrum hopefully fly successfully. Hopefully not jinxing it now. Yeah, I cannot wait for that launch, and we'll see how it goes then. So, now back to this launch, the Soyuz 2.1A vehicle launching in about 4 minutes now, launching Progress MS-33 to the International Space Station. It seems like everything is looking good. The ground crew have left the launch pad as we are now in the final minutes before the launch. Now the launch is scheduled for 11:59 a.m. UTC, and that in local time is 4:59 p.m. UTC. So it's a just late afternoon in Kazakhstan as Soyuz 2.1A flies to the skies in 3.5 minutes from now.
Есть дренаж 30-й. Есть дренаж 70-й. Есть дренаж 20-й. Доклады принял, первый. Наддув. Есть наддув 70-й. Есть ГДН блока И 70-й. Есть наддув общий 30-й. Есть наддув общий 70-й. Есть сброс ШАО системы измерений 70-й.
Alright, we're coming up 2 minutes away into the launch of Soyuz 2.1A. Everything's still looking good so far. So the next steps will be that long arm you see next to the rocket retracting. That is the first arm gonna retract, and then the second smaller arm on the bottom of that bigger arm will retract at around 20 seconds or 15 seconds, which will initiate the launch sequence. And the engines will ignite, and that will take about 10 seconds before the final ignition and liftoff, and that will be happening in 1 minute and 35 seconds now, or 25 seconds, sorry. Right, we're now 1 minute away until the launch. We're getting ready.
Земля борт. Есть переход блока 3-й ступени на бортовое питание. Есть отрыв ШАО блока 3-й ступени. Есть замок.
And there goes that bigger arm. Let's now listen in to the countdown as it Soyuz 2.1A launches.
Доклады принял, первый. Пуск. Пуск. Зажигание. Предварительно. Промежуточное. Главное.
last 30 seconds. Soyuz 2.1A is underway. Beautiful shots there from the Roscosmos team.
Стабилизация изделия устойчивая. Давление в камерах двигателей в норме.
60.
Танка, рыскание, вращение в норме. Полет нормальный. Параметры системы управления ракеты-носителя в норме.
90.
Двигатели первой и второй ступеней работают нормально.
We just saw successful flights of Soyuz 2.1A here. We're coming up in a few seconds, the booster separation. So those 4 boosters will be separation. That will be the first stage separation, yes. That is 117 seconds. Here we go.
120.
And that was absolutely amazing. There you see the 4 boosters, the first stages come loose, and now they're spinning away back to Earth.
Стабилизация изделия устойчивая.
Now coming up in about 30-40 seconds here, the fairing jettison. That will be revealing
Параметры
the
конструкции ракеты
payload
носителя
then.
в норме. Двигатель второй ступени работает нормально.
160.
Параметры системы управления ракеты-носителя в норме.
170.
Стабилизация изделия устойчивая.
180.
Параметры конструкции ракеты-носителя в норме.
And here goes fairing jettison now. And you're gonna see them. There they are, the fairing halves on the camera feed.
Створок головного обтекателя.
I will be muting part of the audio here.
200.
Двигатель второй ступени работает нормально.
Now flight is still going well so far.
210.
Параметры системы управления ракеты-носителя в норме.
220.
Полет нормальный. Время КП 14 часов 59 минут 51 секунда 292 миллисекунды.
230.
Стабилизация изделия устойчивая.
240.
Двигатель второй ступени работает нормально.
250.
Тангаж, рысканье, вращение в норме.
Alright, we're coming up for, in about 20 seconds now, the second stage separation. Now that is by technicality the first stage in our terms, or my terms I would say, but for the Russians, that is the second stage. And that will be separating in about 5 seconds.
Окислителя третьей ступени.
290.
That's camera cut off, and there you see slightly the second stage separation, and there goes the tail now. There you see that happening as well.
Сброс панели хвостового отсека.
310.
Стабилизация изделия устойчивая.
That was a very much action-packed
Параметры конструкции
20 seconds, I will say. Now, in a few minutes from now, we should see that third stage cutoff, and then after will be probably separation.
Нормально.
340.
Параметры системы управления в норме.
350.
Полет нормальный.
360.
Тангаж, рысканье, вращение в норме.
370.
Параметры конструкции ракеты-носителя в норме.
380.
Двигатель третьей ступени работает нормально.
390.
Параметры системы управления ракеты-носителя в норме.
400.
Стабилизация изделия устойчивая.
Alright, so we've
410.
got a bit to rest
Полет
now.
нормальный.
420.
We're 7 minutes into flight now,
Рысканье, вращение в норме.
and things are still going normal as you can hear and see.
430.
Двигатель третьей ступени работает нормально.
440.
Стабилизация изделия устойчивая.
450.
Полет нормальный.
460.
Now soon in about,
Параметры конструкции
let me
ракеты-носителя в
just
норме.
say, about a minute from now until we should see that third stage cutoff, and then the separation of the Progress launch vehicle properly. Now, I'm not all too invested in the Soyuz launch vehicles. I am in the Chinese vehicles though, so, but I believe because there's no frigate stage in here, so it should be separating after third stage main engine cutoff. Now that I think of it, yes, because the rocket only has 3 stages.
Полет нормальный.
It's a 3-stage rocket. Pretty tall.
510.
Тангаж, рысканье, вращение в норме.
10 seconds.
520.
Параметры системы управления в норме.
Once again, I am seeing what you guys are seeing now. Yes, my stream.
530.
There goes. Third stage main engine cutoff at
Есть
spacecraft
выключение
separation.
двигателя третьей ступени.
And that
Есть
marks
отделение
Progress
транспортного
MS-33
грузового корабля
now
«Прогресс»
loose and underway to the International Space Station.
Грузовой корабль «Прогресс» MS-33 выведен на орбиту искусственного
Awesome.
спутника Земли. MS-33 номер 463 окончен.
Now, alright, that is mission complete for MS-33 here, and that will also be concluding our coverage here as well. I believe their coverage will also be ending here in a few seconds now. Thank you guys so much for watching today's stream. We'll be back later today, like I said, for the Geelong 3 launch, so stick around for that. It's going to be a very cool stream, hopefully with our commentators back, and I will be back as well, so don't worry about that. We'll see you soon. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Liftoff. United Launch Alliance Vulcan rocket.